Francis here, TYT Sports. Welcome back to our last video looking at how the teams with new managers will look next season. So we already did Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United, and now it's time to look at Bayern Munich. Now, this is a team plagued with success, coming in with a manager who is largely tipped to be an immediate success in trying to deliver them with trophies, but he's not had the easiest journey domestically with his past teams, but he is a tactical genius, and therefore we are going to talk some tactics. So this is the formation I think Carlo Ancelotti should go with. Now, I know what you're saying. He does like a 4-4-2 as well, but I don't think he'll change things as much as people do expect. He was considered to be the originator of the Christmas tree formation, which he started at AC Milan, which I'll get to in just a second. But looking into their new signings, I imagine that Hummels will come in seamlessly into the centre-back position alongside Boateng, and I think that you expect Lahm and Alaba to be continuing their role as fullbacks for this team, with Neuer, of course, in goals. The midfield, things could change in there. You may see Mario Götze take more of a attacking role, maybe slip in between with Müller if he comes out at times. And, of course, new signing Renato Sanchez, who we are witnessing at the moment in the Euros. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more of him. Of course, a success the 18-year-old was at Benfica. I'm interested to see how Thiago will feature for Bayern Munich. Very similar to one of the roles that I think that Carlo Ancelotti loves to have in his team. He likes that ball-playing defensive midfielder, but he also likes the box-to-box talent like the Clarence Seedorf that he had at AC Milan. So we'll see how Thiago will feature in this team. Douglas Costa is going to be an outlet for them. With Frank Ribery and Robin continuously plagued with injuries, I think he'll look to Douglas Costa to take that role as a wider-based attacker in the final three and make it his own and be more dynamic, be more direct, and be more beneficial in the final third. So we'll see how Ancelotti will play with him in that top role. And Lewandowski, the typical poacher that he likes in his team, from the Inzagis to the Benzema, he will fit in directly with Ancelotti's system, and you expect Lewandowski to go on and get better and better, I think, under Carlo Ancelotti. So similar to the last clip, I look back with Jose Mourinho, I look back at his team with Inter Milan, one of his most successful teams for me. Pep Guardiola, of course, his Barcelona era. And I'm going to look back to Carlo Ancelotti's AC Milan team, as you can see here. Now, he didn't always have the utmost success domestically with this AC Milan team. He never delivered a Serie A, and that's why people often assume that Carlo Ancelotti is the man you want to deliver Champions League trophies, as he has done with AC Milan. He delivered La Decima, the 10th Champions League trophy for Real Madrid. But I think that when you look at this formation, this was the originator of the Christmas tree. So as you can see, this pretty-looking team, they had talent throughout. So their backline was as solid as can be. Maldini, Nesta, Cafu, Jankulovski, Ambrosini is that role I mentioned with Thiago. Now, Ambrosini wasn't the best going forward, but he encompassed this role because he was box-to-box. He did things simple, but he did it well, and he allowed for the likes of Kaká and Seedorf to try and take the ball and allow them to be more useful in the final third. Now, Seedorf would swap in at times with Ambrosini, and he would take up that role alongside Gattuso and Pirlo. Pirlo and Gattuso would swap as well. Gattuso would often take the deeper role. Pirlo would join the attack when he could. But a lot of this formation brought out the best in one specific player, and that's Kaká. Kaká was given almost a free role in the final third, similar to what we've seen with Cristiano Ronaldo for Real Madrid, and what I think we'll see with Thomas Müller. Obviously plays his trade well, but I don't think they're using him as best as they could, because what you want with this formation is the ability to adjust, and that's what Carlo Ancelotti is going to want to do. So with this three in the midfield, at times, when things start to maybe don't go as much to plan, they'll want to adjust and kind of go straight into a 4-4-2, which is what Ancelotti likes to do. And that's why Thomas Müller, when he starts maybe on the right-hand side, his role is going to be very similar to that of Kaká's and Ronaldo's, where he can join the attack in here, pick up possession, and as soon as they adjust into a 4-4-2, he immediately becomes a second striker. And I believe Cristiano Ronaldo played some of his best football under Carlo Ancelotti because he wasn't given any restrictions as a wide player to have to track back as much and have to contribute defensively, whether he would want to or not. And of course, everyone who plays under Carlo Ancelotti is going to have to fall into a system and maybe defend as much. But Thomas Müller is going to be given a role just to play off of Lewandowski. And I think that's where Thomas Müller will thrive. And it doesn't need to be him as well. I think Mario Götze could come in and play that role similar to what he does with Germany. And I think he'll be able to pick up the ball. But Thomas Müller is someone who I think thrives under Carlo Ancelotti. Now, the other option is, how does Douglas Costa feature on this team? Because Ancelotti, when you look at his teams, he necessarily doesn't like to focus on players who will hug the touchline as much. But if you've seen him adapt certain players in the past, I think that he will like that outlet that Douglas Costa will have, because the game's different when Ancelotti would look at this AC Milan team, as we mentioned before. You need more width now, and Douglas Costa is going to be your go-to option to try and drag the midfield across and drag more of his opposition team out to create space in here for the likes of Thiago to pick up the ball in this area. You need a Douglas Costa. If they tried to play very similar to the way AC Milan did with the central players, I don't think Douglas Costa fits that role as well. I think you're going to see him more so push wider, and then when they transition into a 4-4-2, which they will do at times, he will seamlessly fill that left midfield role rather than having to switch out a player, use a substitution. If it was maybe a Müller with a Ribery up there, don't know how easy that adjustment is. Whereas Douglas Costa naturally likes to play that wider role. So really quick, this is the alternate formation that I mentioned here under Carlo Ancelotti, where Douglas Costa will fill in, Thiago, Alonso, Vidal, and that can even be different. I think that Javi Martinez is someone I think Ancelotti will look to maybe as a defensive midfielder role, with swapping out Javi Alonso more so. Because Javi Alonso, his minutes are now limited. I think he's on the back nine of his career. He consistently plays at a top level, and he can ping passes like no other. But when you look at Ancelotti's team, he looks for that almost Makelele-esque role as well. Someone that can play the ball into feet and help distribute in certain areas, but has to put in a hard tackle and has to be condensed. And I don't think Javi Alonso does it as well as he used to do. He, of course, played under Ancelotti at Real Madrid. And I think that Javi Martinez, even though he plays well at centre-back, with Hummels coming in, maybe will push into that defensive midfield role, which was a position that he played in originally. So maybe expect that change. But as I mentioned, Müller and Lewandowski go into that second striker role. But I think you expect Lam to sit in that full-back role more so than as he has done with Pep. Pep called him the most intelligent footballer he'd ever seen, and therefore utilised him sometimes in the defensive midfield role. If you look back at the Jankulovski and the Cafu era, yes, Ancelotti puts some emphasis on the fullbacks going forward, but I think one of the main things that Ancelotti likes to do is immerse as much attacking talent in the final third as he can. So therefore, if it means that he plays more of an attacking-minded centre midfielders in here, he'll want his fullbacks to kind of stay home. So say, for instance, Alba likes to join the attack in the middle, he'll want Philipp Lahm to fill in this defensive role along with a defensive midfielder, whether it's Javi Martinez or whether it is Javi Alonso, and this will be your back four here. And he will allow for Alba to push forward, and then Douglas Costa, it turns into a 4-3-3. But it's all about being adjustable under Carlo Ancelotti. He doesn't like to simply stick with that 4-2-3-1 or the 4-3-3 that every other manager will go to and not like to adjust from. He will move to a traditional 4-4-2. He has no problem in doing that. But if you look at Ancelotti's teams in the past, they scored goals. In Chelsea, they had a diamond formation, very similar to this, to which Ancelotti came into power with. So they had a diamond in the middle of midfield. But he felt that wasn't getting the best out of the likes of Frank Lampard. And one thing I do give Ancelotti credit for, sometimes it hinders him, but he'll look at individual talent and he'll think, how can I get the most out of that player? How do I get them contributing more than they would expect? And what he done was very simple. He simply pushed Lampard forward, and he allowed for a 4-3-3 formation, and Lampard would pick up the ball a lot deeper, but he'd support the attack and be harder to pick up. And what happened that season? Chelsea were the first team in Premier League history to score more than 100 goals in a season, or 100 goals and more. And it was immediate. The effect was immediate. It was a different formation that many teams didn't expect. Lampard, who was often the top of that diamond, sometimes would drop a little deeper, was now harder to pick up. They had three attacking players further up to work with, and he would push forward and trail, and that's how you see Lampard picking up so many goals with the ball falling to the edge of the box in that era. Thiago's going to be similar to that. He's a very good ball player. He's got very tidy footwork, but he hasn't been the bride in the middle of that park. Vidal is going to do what Vidal does. He's going to be box to box. He's going to be like Gattuso along with the Pirlo if Javi Alonso plays alongside him. He's going to look to utilise him very similar to he utilised Gattuso in that era. He's going to win the ball, he's going to support when he has to, but his main objective is to close space, nullify the opponent's immediate strengths, and then that will allow for Thiago to play almost an Iniesta-esque role where he can pick up the ball wherever he wants to, utilise his talent, be caught higher up the field when he knows that defensively they're going to be structured with the likes of Vidal and Javi Martinez or Javi Alonso in here with the support of Philipp Lahm or the other fullback, and then he can wander into this area, pick up the ball and utilise his best players in the attacking third. So I don't think much will change in terms of their shape. It will look very similar. I just think individual roles will be a little bit different than what they were like under Pep Guardiola. More of that kind of tiki-taka movement of the ball from the back, I think will be reserved to higher up the field, where Ancelotti likes to play his football and likes to go forward and execute. It's going to be a big test for him. He has this, I would say, this cloud over his head that mentions that he doesn't win domestic trophies. And the stats are there to back it up. He is a genius at winning Champions League trophies. And it's kind of funny because Bayern Munich now have had numerous trophies under Pep Guardiola in terms of German Bundesliga trophies, but didn't get that Champions League trophy. So whether Ancelotti comes in, what would the fans think if he delivers them a Champions League but misses out on the Bundesliga? Will you be happy then, or will you become complacent and say, oh, we need a manager that wins it all? Everyone wants it all, but bringing in someone like Ancelotti, I feel that Bayern Munich will be a team to look out for in the Champions League next year, but will he be able to deliver the Bundesliga as well? Hit us in the comment section below. As we mentioned, of course there's going to be more tactics videos, but this was the last one, unless there's a new manager that comes to power that you guys want to see. So hit us in the comment section below, on Twitter at Francis_Maxwell and at TYT Sports, and I'll see you guys soon.